Next at 5, snow and ice from the weekend make for a slick morning commute this Monday. We are tracking the major trouble spots on the roads. Plus, downed trees and power lines leave more hundreds of thousands without power.
And then we saw 3 transformers blow, and it just was boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, while it'll be restored soon for others, more people could be in the cold for over a week. Coming up in 15 minutes, we're talking with PGE about their efforts to restore power. Hey, good morning, everyone. It is President's Day, a federal holiday. So if you have the day off, great timing. Rod, fill us in on that forecast.
Yeah, here we go with the radar behind me. So here on the west side of our state, the weather part of the story, the active.
We got some new numbers from PGE this morning. It's reporting more than 250,000 customers without power. The majority of those are in Clackamas County. And that's where Devin Haskins joins us live this morning. Devin.
Well, good morning. Yeah, while some of the intersections here without, this one obviously is lit with power right now. And it's a good thing, one, because we can show you more what we're looking at. The trees here, this one has maybe at least a half an inch, if not more, of ice. And as it has caused problems all over the weekend, it's still causing problems today. We went out just on Highway 43 near Palatine Road. The road was closed because of downed power lines. We went to check it out. We're going to set up there for the morning, but the constant sound of tree branches breaking or whatever it was falling gave us second thoughts. It was pretty eerie at 4 o'clock this morning when we were there. Highway 43 is closed for about a mile heading south in that area to Military. PGE says that more than 100,000 are without power throughout Clackamas County. Heavy ice causing all sorts of problems with trees taking out the power lines. PGE says these outages could last for days.
I hate to say this, but for some customers, it could be as long as 10 days before we've got everybody back on. That's an extreme situation, but we need people to be prepared for the potential for some extended outages.
Now, the other two largest hit areas, Marion and Multnomah County, both reporting over 65,000 people without power. The governor also declaring a state of emergency, which will bring in more resources into the area. Back to you.
All right, Devin Haskins, a good parent, by the way, you are, but I got to tell Devin, as a parent, he's got to get from underneath that tree.
Absolutely.
Don't stand underneath the tree, Devin. Next story is one we're still following. We don't have a lot of information, but the early reports are absolutely not good because the Coast Guard is investigating reports that a car went off the Glen Jackson Bridge there on I-205 into the Columbia River. We know that someone did call 911 just before 6 o'clock last night. These traffic cameras were showing you, they showed crews responding to that spot last night. They searched the water, but so far nobody or no car has been found. Again, we're just getting some information on the story and we're going to bring you more as soon as we learn more. Right now, we do want to check back in with Brian Clerkley, who is keeping an eye on roads for us from Drive 8 this morning. So, Brian, start with where you are and what you've seen so far during your drive.
Good morning, Drew. I'm here in northeast Portland right now, and we've been all over the area this morning. Slushy roads, slick roads, and just bad road conditions. But I'm going to turn the camera around so everyone can see. So we're on 53rd and Sacramento in northeast, and this street is closed. You can see that there's a tree that has fallen and it's now in the middle of the road, and there's a downed power line. So we're just going to be really careful. Obviously, we're not going to go down this street. We're just going to back up a little bit, but you can just see the damage on the street. Now the trees are actually covered in ice right here, so you can just see those ice layers, and you can see the road really hasn't been plowed. This is one of those side streets that we've been talking about. We're right off Sandy Boulevard, so Sandy was all right. You can drive on Sandy all right. It was plowed, but this side street is just terrible. You can barely get through it without swaying back and forth. But throughout the morning, we have seen just cars that were pulled over on the side of the road because they couldn't get through that thick slush. And we saw on I-84 going east, those ramps are closed around the Lloyd district because a tree is in the road. So you just have to be really careful if you're going out this morning. And one more reminder, I-84 is back open through the gorge. It shut down on Friday but reopened yesterday, and conditions there still don't look great. So like I keep saying, everyone just needs to drive slowly. It's really, really slick out. and your car is going to sway back and forth. So everyone just be really careful out on the roads this morning, and we will keep following everything. We'll be out here all morning. Back to you guys.
Absolutely, Brian. I'll do you one better here. Don't go out. I've got studless snow tires, and it is like an ice rink. Seriously, like an ice rink on those side streets. You just cannot keep any
so
traction.
many textures to go through. You know, there's puddles and then the slush and then huge chunks of ice.
100%. Don't go out. So it's what, if we're counting 3 days now since the first round of snow and ice blanketed the metro area, but the plows and the salt trucks, they can't get to every single street.
Yeah, as we've seen, it's just really dangerous for drivers. Take a look at some video of people just spinning out along Holgate and 82nd. This is in Southeast, or right on the border of Northeast Southeast. PBOT says they have more than 200 people, 57 plows, and 7 de-icers working nonstop. Right now, though, they're only focusing on major roads like Burnside or Southwest Multnomah Boulevard in the Multnomah Village area.
Our crews have been working around the clock since Wednesday night. They continue to. We've got more than 100 people on day shift.
The city has this interactive website where you can actually follow where crews are working, maybe see when they're coming to your neighborhood. Just head to our website, kgw.com, for details.
You know, sometimes even the professionals get stuck. Take a look at this video. Yep. That's a plow caught in the snow on Northwest Skyline Boulevard. Right now, Skyline is shut down from West Burnside to Northwest Cornell. PBOT tells us there are also trees and power lines down, so if you can, just avoid that area altogether. And a big thank you this morning to Nicole Stavino for sending us this video.
Yeah, that's not good when you see them stuck. All right, roads still too dicey for TriMet. They have suspended service for all buses overnight and most MAX lines, but all buses, including shuttles, will run again this morning, a little later on in the morning with limited service. So crews say each bus will have chains and will have to be limited to 25 miles per hour. You can check for the latest updates on your route at trimet.org/alerts.
There's a lot to get to this morning. We're going to hop over to Clark County right now because Clark County Public Works closed Southeast 347th between Southwest Lawton Road and Southeast Jennings Road, and that's because of those bad road conditions there. This is in the Washougal area, if you're not familiar. That's a quarter-mile stretch that has been really windy the last couple of days, and those big winds have created huge snow drifts. In fact, the plows over there haven't even been able to get through. Trash service, by the way, in Vancouver, also canceled today. All residential garbage and recycling is going to get pushed back one day. So if you normally put out your cans today, make sure to do it by tomorrow morning instead. And Friday customers, a heads up for you, you can put out your trash Saturday this week, and that includes your trash from last week because waste collection in Vancouver was also canceled this past Friday.
Folks in Marion County may have trouble getting through to 911. Metcom 911 says over the last 24 hours, it's received hundreds of calls and it's having trouble getting to all of them. Spotty cell service could also be to blame. They recommend texting instead of calling. The other thing they want you to know is do not call 911 or any other non-emergency line to ask about power outages. Reach out to your specific utility company to find out when the electricity may be back on.
So what is it looking like in your neighborhood right now? Eric sent us this from Hepner. He says as of 5 last night, they had gotten 11 inches of snow. And check out this video from Jory. She captured deer running around in the snow in Kelso. How beautiful. And Emily took a photo of the tree in her front yard. This is so sad to see. All these beautiful trees just weighed down by ice and snapping. She says this guy was standing up straight on Friday. So show us what it's like in your neck of the woods. You can text us a picture to 503-226-5088. Okay.
You know, when weather gets as bad as it did over the weekend, a lot of people turn to public transportation, but TriMet had issues this weekend as well. On Saturday, not only did TriMet suspend the MAX lines, but it also suspended all bus service. The first time that's happened in recent history anyway. So last check this morning, TriMet is back up and running, but for limited service. For more, we're going to check in with Roberta Allstat right now from TriMet. So Roberta, for one, thanks for getting up as early as you are this morning to join us here on Sunrise. Two, is it easier to talk about what lines are running this morning or are not running? Because you can handle either one for us.
It's less to talk about what is actually running right now. And we really do appreciate people's understanding. This is an extreme storm that led to a state of emergency, and it definitely created its challenges for us. We would encourage riders to delay their travel until a little bit later as things thaw. And we definitely hope that it gets up into the 40s today here in the Portland area. But we have very, very limited MAX service running right now. We only have trains running on the MAX Blue Line between Hatfield Government Center out in Hillsborough and Goose Hollow. We are trying to clear the area through downtown so that we can move trains to the Rose Quarter on the east side. But we're working hard on that, and we'll let folks know at trimet.org/alerts when we're able to do that. Right now, we are starting to roll buses on just 5 bus lines. As things improve, we will begin getting more buses out on more lines. However, there's a lot of trees down, wires down, so that is creating some additional challenges for us.
You know, on Saturday, that was the big story, right? Suspending all bus service. And we said first time in recent history. I really don't remember the last time it happened. I don't know if you have that date available, but more importantly, you know, what was it on Saturday that made you decide we can't even roll out the buses?
Really, it was all the moisture that came down Friday night, and it just encased everything in ice. Our buses that we had out were getting stuck. The overhead power wire on the MAX just got encased in ice, and trains were stopped. So we, even when we tried to send shuttle buses to those areas to take the MAX riders, they were getting stuck. So really, the weather, the rain, the freezing rain came down so heavy and so quick that it just encased everything in ice. And, you know, we really, we do not take it serious, or we do take it very serious when we have to do that. Haven't done it in my 10 years at TriMet. I'm a native Portlander. I don't remember it ever happening before, but really it was not safe for us to run service. And we did throughout that, we're always focused on restoring service. And we had crews working around the clock to try to get things thawed out, break up the ice, and get things rolling.
All right, Roberta, thanks again for joining us early here. That is the latest from TriMet. If you want more information throughout the day, you can go to trimet.org.
You don't need wheels, just skis, right, to get around. This was the way to do things. Skiers took over downtown Portland over the weekend for kind of an impromptu race. Here's our Brittany Falkers.
We're just trying to have some fun and enjoy winter, like when it happens. The rare occasion.
Welcome to Portland, the hottest ski destination for one weekend only.
One of the most charming parts about the city, right? That we can't handle snow, so let's just go into it. I love it.
Saturday, Northwest streets covered in snow became the site for an impromptu ski race. The Stumptown Birkebeiner, more lovingly known as the Birkies. Pets,
ready to go.
Kiddos, and a Portland pickle?
I was plenty warmed up. Pickles joined us. So I did not expect pickles today, but when in Portland, you never know what you're going to see.
This isn't the first time downtown skiers have taken to the streets. The last time we saw the Birkie was 2017.
There's not many years you can wear your old Birkie bibs, and this feels like an appropriate time to come out.
But was wearing that old bib worth skiing sleeveless?
This was a great idea until I stood still for about 20 minutes.
Keeping it weird and taking full advantage of this extended snow day.
Not a bad way to spend a Saturday.
Go Birkies! That is awesome. So if you guys got out and had some fun in the snow over the weekend, we would love to see your photos. You can text us at 503-226-5088. Welcome back on this President's Day Monday. So much ice in so many places. Yeah, the thaw is coming, but still, in Clackamas County alone, there are more than 100,000 power outages. That's a live look from our Rose City Skycam this morning. And joining me live on the phone is Elizabeth Latanner from PGE. Elizabeth, good morning. We always appreciate your time. I know you guys are super busy. Can you tell me, did that freezing rain overnight cause more problems for your crews?
Yes, this storm is historic. We've had 3 waves of snow, ice, and wind, and each time we've had power outages because of that ice accumulating on branches, impacting power lines. It's impacted our transmission lines. If you think about it as a puzzle piece, we have kind of several steps to getting many of our customers power restored because of the kind of scope of this storm.
Okay, can you talk more and say more about the logistics of getting the power back on? You've got the down lines. No doubt you're rebuilding as well, things that have kind of blown or fallen over. Talk more about that.
Sure. So if you think about how your power is generated, your power comes from a generating plant, and what takes it to a substation is a transmission line. And we have more than 200 miles of transmission lines that need to be repaired. And then our 7 substations are out right now. And then we have more than 4,400 wires down. And those wires take the power from the substation to your home. And so if you think about it, like I said, like a puzzle, there are several kind of pieces that need to be put in place before we can fully get folks restored. And that takes time. And we recognize this is an incredibly challenging weekend with really cold conditions, and we just thank our customers for their patience right now, and we know this is frustrating.
Yeah, I almost feel a little sheepish asking you this question, but is there any way to know how much longer it's going to be before everybody gets back online?
Can't say with certainty. Given the extent of the damage, it's going to take some time, and so we really thank folks for patience, and we understand their frustration.
All right, stay in touch. Good luck to you and your crews. Again, big job. Elizabeth LaTanner with PGE. Thank you.
This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Coming up this half hour on Sunrise, the big story this morning, still the hundreds of thousands of people throughout the region who are without power this morning. 100,000 of them we know are in Clackamas County, but again, this is something that affects a wide range of areas and counties. We're going to have more details on how long it could be before the power comes back. We're hearing it could be as long in some spots as 10 days. 10 days without power. We're also getting pictures and video from our viewers, including this one of a transformer blowing up in the distance there. This was sent in by viewer Lainey Strauss. She said this was her view from the Pearl.
Wow.
Unbelievable images over the weekend. The sound of transformers popping and trees cracking. Again, the outages, the big story this morning. We'll talk more about the efforts to fix those outages.
Yeah, we've got the power lines, we've got down trees, creating a big old headache for crews trying to keep the roads clear in Portland. Coming up this morning, we talked to PBOT about the problem spots they're focusing on right now. All right, Rod, thank you. So one of the huge stories we are tracking this morning is those power outages. There are hundreds of thousands of people waiting in the cold and dark. This is the Portland General Electric map. They have more than 250,000 people without power right now. Nearly half of those are just in Clackamas County. And turning now next to Pacific Power. They have a lot of outages in the Marion County area, and they expect most of those people to get service restored by this afternoon. But new this morning in Northeast Portland, where there's a large pocket of Pacific Power customers, there's a new widespread power outage for Pacific Power there. It's impacting about 26,000 people in the Hollywood, Lloyd Center area, and we don't know when power will be restored for them.
I'm a father of 4. I have 4 kids I have to be responsible for. If my power doesn't come back on and now I can't get out either, there's no one doing Uber right now. There's no one doing Lyft. There's no one coming out right now to help us.
Yeah, it is a real concern for a lot of people. That family not only lost power, but look at that, their carport collapsed under the weight of snow and ice, crushing both of their family cars. So just like power, they don't know when this damage will be able to be fixed. Oh, that is brutal. Okay, on some roads, you do see tree after fallen tree. Arborists are being inundated with calls right now. We talked to one of them at the Davey Tree Expert Company. He says as things thaw, they'll get those crews out today.
Just be patient with the tree crews. We are definitely trying, and we're going to work and do everything we can to get everyone back into their homes and get these problems solved with. And so we appreciate that understanding.
Governor Kate Brown declaring a state of emergency in 9 counties on Saturday. That makes extra resources available to restore power and to help with the cleanup. Those counties are Benton, Clackamas, Hood River, Lynn, Marion, Multnomah, Polk, Washington, and Yamhill.
You know, driving around the freeways this morning, a lot better than they were over the weekend. I-5, 205, and 84. But Brian Clerkley in Drive 8 this morning, I think you're seeing firsthand how side roads are still a real mess, regardless of where you live. Where are you at right now, Bryant?
Yeah. Good morning, Drew. I'm here on Northeast 102nd Avenue, and yes, the side roads are very dangerous, so I'm just going to turn the camera around so you guys can see where we are. So you can see that this road hasn't really been plowed much. There's still a lot of ice and a lot of slush on the road, and there's a lot of ice on the trees, and the power is actually out over here as well from the looks of it. And there's some downed power lines that are on the sides of the road and everything. So you guys want to be really careful and go really slow if you're driving down this street. This is Northeast 102nd Avenue. So like I said, we've seen everything from ice on the roads, slush on the roads, down power lines and power outages. And you can see that there's no lights in those stop lights up there. So lots and lots of troubled areas over here. And our photographer Eric Patterson shot some video on his way into work this morning. This was from Highway 30, and you can just hear how much slush is under that car as he drives. And you can see in this video that a car is stuck on the side of the road, and you can see the driver of that car trying to get out of the snow, but the driver is having a really difficult time doing that. And as we have been driving around the city all morning, we have seen a lot of cars getting stuck on these side roads. They just can't get through the slush. So the cars are just on the side of the road, and our car is swaying back and forth here on Northeast 102nd Avenue due to all the ice. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So if you're coming over here, you definitely want to be careful. You definitely want to take it slow, take all the precautions. And there's actually not a lot of people on the roads today, so it looks like people are kind of heeding the warnings and staying home. Back to you guys.
Brian, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm getting car sick watching this report. My stomach's jumpking around as you guys are going over all those ruts.
I'm with you. I do get car sickness.
Great.
Well, hey, pull over.
I'm hoping I can,
take a deep breath. Thank you, Brian Clerkley in Drive 8 this morning. Again, side streets are a mess. It is still technically the weekend with President's Day being today, so we're telling people, as we have all weekend long, stay home if you can, avoid the roads if you can. We do have an update. Having said that, about I-84, that 45-mile stretch between Troutdale and Hood River is back open this morning. It was closed Friday night, but the fact is the conditions there still aren't great. Cars and trucks that are on 84, they're moving very slow, and some are even stalled. So again, not great to be out on the roads at all today. If you can avoid it, please do. On the Washington side of the gorge, by the way, SR 14 is completely closed this morning. Highway 18 back here on the Oregon side of things is back open as well today. That highway was closed between Rose Lodge and Grand Ronde over the weekend as ODOT crews had to clear more than 400 downed trees on 18.
A heads up if you live in West Lynn. The city is asking you not to use the water unless it is absolutely necessary. Electricity operates the pump station and the treatment plant, and since the power is out, the water supply is limited this morning. Well, volunteers are making sure that vulnerable people have a warm place to stay. There was a big line outside the Blanchet House in Portland over the weekend. Volunteers there braved the bone-chilling weather to serve meals and hand out clothing. That's John Siebert. He's a volunteer manager. He says there are so many people in need right now.
We're seeing a lot of guests that are coming for our meal services every day. 6 days a week, 3 meals a day, and there's not a day that goes by where we're not seeing a lot of new faces.
Multnomah County has opened 3 severe weather shelters. One is along North Lombard. The other is in a parking garage near the Oregon Convention Center, and the last one is inside the convention center itself. All right, take a look at this. The weight of snow and ice Saturday collapsed multiple sections of this boat marina in southeast Portland. This is the Waverly Marina in Sellwood. And look at that, the weight of the roof, then pushing dozens of boats to sink now under the water. They're going to have to get cranes to pull all of those out, though. Luckily, no one was hurt. What an expensive insurance nightmare that is. A lot of restaurants also dealt with tent collapses. Look at this. We saw several outdoor dining tents businesses put up to help survive the pandemic, damaged under the weight of all the snow and ice.
It's crazy. It's one thing after another. Boom, boom, boom. But you know, one day at a time, things are going to work out.
Phil Geffner, a friend of the show, he owns Escape from New York Pizza. He was one of the only restaurants on Northwest 23rd that opened this weekend. He's on his bike. Yeah, he's hardcore, man. It is a hard situation, oh my gosh, for restaurants. Valentine's Day was usually one of their busiest nights. They would have been able to reopen for indoor dining since metro areas got the green light on Friday.
John, thank you so much for hanging in with us. Sometimes technical problems. I was asking about the freezing rain that fell overnight. How much did that set your crews back?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things with that. We saw a lot of down power lines and down trees that closed roads. So in addition to the icy conditions, there was also that. So the most significant closure there is Skyline, for example, that was from Burnside to Cornell, is closed because of down trees and power lines. So that it complicated the work.
So it is a federal holiday. It's President's Day. A lot of folks don't have to go to work today, which is good. For those who do need to get out, though, other than Skyline, are there trouble spots that they should be aware of?
What I think people need to be aware of, this is this transition period so the roads are still, the major roads are clear. The side streets, which we don't plow, are still messy, and our crews are going to be out again mopping things up. So people just need to realize that it's still slow going, it's still slick. They need to give themselves lots of time, avoid travel if they can, or delay it if they can. I think the urge is now, oh, it's over, let's get out there. And this is the time when we need a little bit more patience.
I know you've heard this question before, but maybe you can elaborate for people who don't know. Why don't you plow the side streets in Portland?
Yeah, I know that can be frustrating. It's a couple of reasons. One, it's a capacity reason. So we don't have the number of plows. There's a total of about 4,800 lane miles of streets in Portland. We plow about 1,800 of that. So we would need, more capacity. And then it's also a question just of a lot of those residential streets are narrow. And then if you think of some of the inner neighborhoods, how many parked cars there are, it would be a real logistical challenge to be able to get plows down there and plow all those streets.
All right, understood. John Brady, good luck to you and your crews. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.